The cafe was alive with the hum of conversation, the clinking of cups, and the faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Emma sat by the window, her notebook open but untouched, her gaze drifting to the autumn leaves swirling outside. She loved this place, its warmth, its familiarity. It was where she and her friends had shared countless memories since freshman year. Today, though, something felt off. Sophia was late. Again. Emma glanced at her phone, the screen blank. No messages, no excuses. Just silence. She sighed, tapping her pen against the table. Sophia had always been the spontaneous one, the life of their little group, but lately, her unpredictability had taken on a different tone. It wasn't just lateness. It was secrecy. Emma had noticed the way Sophia's phone buzzed incessantly, the way she'd step outside to take calls, the way her laughter seemed forced when she returned. "Hey, sorry I'm late." Sophia's voice cut through Emma's thoughts. She slid into the seat across from Emma, her cheeks flushed, her hair slightly disheveled. "You're fine," Emma said, forcing a smile. "I was just starting to think you'd forgotten about me." "Never," Sophia replied, her tone light but her eyes avoiding Emma's. She flagged down the waiter and ordered her usual, a caramel latte with an extra shot of espresso. Emma studied her friend. Sophia was as radiant as ever, her confidence effortless, her charm undeniable. But there was something beneath the surface, a tension that hadn't been there before. "How's Liam?" Emma asked, trying to sound casual. Sophia's smile faltered for a fraction of a second before she recovered. "He's good. Busy with work, you know how it is." Emma nodded, though the answer felt hollow. Liam had been her friend since childhood, long before he and Sophia started dating. He was the kind of person who wore his heart on his sleeve, loyal to a fault. If something was wrong, he'd have told her. Wouldn't he? The conversation drifted to safer topics. Classes, upcoming exams, the latest campus gossip. But Emma couldn't shake the feeling that Sophia was holding something back. Halfway through their coffee, Sophia's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, her expression unreadable, before quickly silencing it. "Everything okay?" Emma asked. "Yeah, just work stuff," Sophia said, tucking her phone into her bag. Emma wanted to press further, to ask who kept calling, why Sophia seemed so on edge. But she held back. Maybe she was overthinking things. Maybe Sophia was just stressed. As they left the cafe, Sophia hugged Emma tightly, a little too tightly. "Thanks for always being there for me," she said, her voice soft. "Of course," Emma replied, though the words felt heavy with unspoken meaning. Walking back to her apartment, Emma replayed the conversation in her mind. The way Sophia had avoided her eyes, the way her phone had buzzed at just the wrong moment. It was nothing, she told herself. Just her imagination running wild. But that night, as she lay in bed, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She thought about Liam, about the way he'd looked at Sophia the last time they were all together. He loved her, truly loved her. And Sophia loved him too. Didn't she? Emma's phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a message from Liam. "Hey, have you talked to Sophia lately? She's been acting different. Just wondering if you've noticed anything." Emma stared at the screen, her heart sinking. So it wasn't just her. Liam had noticed it too. She typed out a reply, then deleted it, then typed it again. "Yeah, she seemed a little off. Maybe we should talk tomorrow." Liam's response was immediate. "Yeah, let's do that." Emma set her phone down, her mind racing. Whatever was going on with Sophia, it was bigger than she'd realized. And as much as she wanted to believe the best, a small, nagging voice in the back of her mind whispered that things were about to change. For better or worse, she wasn't sure. The next morning, Emma woke with a knot in her stomach. The message from Liam lingered in her mind, a quiet reminder that her suspicions weren't unfounded. She dressed quickly, her thoughts a jumble of worry and curiosity. She had agreed to meet Liam at the park, a neutral space where they could talk without prying eyes or ears. The park was quiet, the early morning mist clinging to the trees. Emma spotted Liam on a bench near the fountain, his shoulders hunched, his hands clasped tightly together. He looked up as she approached, his expression a mix of relief and anxiety. "Hey," Emma said softly, sitting beside him. "Hey," Liam replied, his voice strained. He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit Emma had always found endearing. For a moment they sat in silence, the weight of unspoken words hanging between them. Finally Liam spoke. "I don't know what's going on with Sophia," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "She's been distant, canceling plans, avoiding my calls. And when we do talk, it's like she's not really there, you know." Emma nodded, her heart aching for him. "I've noticed it too. She's been different." Liam sighed, his shoulders sagging. "I keep telling myself it's just stress or work or something. But I can't shake this feeling that there's more to it." Emma hesitated, torn between her loyalty to Sophia and her concern for Liam. "Have you tried talking to her about it?" "I have," Liam said, his voice tinged with frustration. "But she just brushes me off, says everything's fine. And maybe it is. Maybe I'm just overthinking things." Emma reached out, placing a hand on his arm. "You're not overthinking, Liam. I've seen it too. The way she's been acting, the way she's been so secretive. It's not like her." Liam looked at her, his eyes searching hers for answers she didn't have. "What do you think it is, Emma? What's going on?" Emma took a deep breath, her mind racing. She thought about the receipt she'd found in Sophia's bag, the one from the fancy restaurant. She thought about the way Sophia had avoided her questions, the way her phone had buzzed with messages from an unknown number. "I don't know," she said finally. "But I think we need to find out." Liam nodded, his jaw tightening. "Yeah, we do." They sat in silence for a while, the weight of their shared concern pressing down on them. Finally Liam stood, his expression resolute. "I'm going to talk to her," he said. "Tonight. I need to know the truth, whatever it is." Emma stood as well, her heart pounding. "Do you want me to be there?" Liam shook his head. "No. This is between me and her. But thanks, Emma, for being here. For listening." Emma nodded, her throat tight. "Of course. Whatever happens, I'm here for you." As Liam walked away, Emma felt a surge of unease. She wanted to believe that Sophia had a good explanation, that this was all just a misunderstanding. But deep down she knew better. That evening, Emma sat in her apartment, her phone in her hand. She wanted to call Sophia, to warn her, to give her a chance to explain herself. But she knew it wasn't her place. This was between Liam and Sophia. Her phone buzzed and she jumped. It was a message from Liam. "We need to talk. Can you come over?" Emma's heart sank. She grabbed her coat and headed out the door, her mind racing with possibilities. When she arrived at Liam's apartment, he was sitting on the couch, his face pale, his eyes red. "What happened?" Emma asked, her voice trembling. Liam looked up at her, his expression a mix of anger and heartbreak. "She lied to me, Emma. She's been lying to me for weeks." Emma sat down beside him, her heart pounding. "What do you mean?" Liam handed her his phone, the screen displaying a series of messages. Emma's stomach churned as she read them. Flirtatious, intimate, unmistakably incriminating. "She's been seeing someone else," Liam said, his voice breaking. "Someone from work. She didn't even try to deny it. She just admitted it." Emma felt a surge of anger, of betrayal. She thought about all the times Sophia had brushed off her concerns, all the times she'd lied to Liam's face. "I'm so sorry, Liam," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam shook his head, his eyes filled with tears. I don't understand. How could she do this? How could she throw everything away?" Emma didn't have an answer. She sat beside him, her heart aching for her friend, for the pain he was going through. As the night wore on, they talked, cried, and tried to make sense of the chaos. But deep down, Emma knew that things would never be the same. The cracks in the foundation had grown too wide, and the damage was done. The days that followed were a blur of tension and heartache. Liam moved out of the apartment he shared with Sophia, crashing on a friend's couch while he figured out his next steps. Emma tried to be there for him, offering a listening ear and a shoulder to lean on, but the weight of the situation was overwhelming. Sophia, meanwhile, had become a ghost. She stopped showing up to their usual hangouts, her social media went silent, and her phone calls went unanswered. Emma tried reaching out, leaving voicemails and texts, but Sophia's silence was deafening. One evening, as Emma sat in her apartment, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Sophia. "Can we talk? Please?" Emma's heart raced as she typed out a reply. "Of course. Where?" They agreed to meet at the cafe, the same one where they'd shared so many memories. Emma arrived early, her stomach in knots. She didn't know what to expect, but she knew this conversation would change everything. Sophia walked in a few minutes later, her face pale, her eyes shadowed with exhaustion. She looked nothing like the vibrant, confident woman Emma had known. "Thanks for meeting me," Sophia said, her voice trembling as she sat down. Emma nodded, her throat tight. "Of course." For a moment they sat in silence, the air thick with unspoken words. Finally Sophia spoke. "I'm so sorry, Emma," she said, her voice breaking. "I never meant for any of this to happen." Emma took a deep breath, her emotions a tangled mess of anger and sadness. "What did you mean to happen, Sophia? Because from where I'm sitting it looks like you threw away everything for..." "What? A fling?" Sophia flinched, her eyes filling with tears. "It wasn't just a fling. It was complicated." "Complicated," Emma repeated, her voice rising. "Liam loved you, Sophia. He trusted you. And you betrayed him. You betrayed all of us." Sophia looked down, her hands trembling. "I know. And I hate myself for it. But I was lost. I didn't know how to handle everything and I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake." Emma shook her head, her anger giving way to a deep, aching sadness. "A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill or missing a deadline. What you did, that's not a mistake, Sophia. That's a choice." Sophia's tears spilled over, her shoulders shaking with sobs. "I know. And I'll regret it for the rest of my life. But I need you to know that I never wanted to hurt anyone. Especially not you." Emma felt a lump in her throat, her own tears threatening to fall. "You did hurt me, Sophia. You hurt all of us. And I don't know if I can forgive you for that." Sophia nodded, her face a mask of pain. "I understand. I needed you to know how sorry I am. And I needed to say goodbye." Emma's heart ached at the finality of those words. "Goodbye." Sophia took a deep breath, her voice steadying. "I'm leaving. I got a job offer in another city and I'm taking it. I need to start over to try to make things right. And I can't do that here." Emma felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Relief, sadness, anger. "What about Liam?" Sophia's face crumpled. "I've hurt him enough. I can't ask him to forgive me. Just hope. I hope he can find happiness without me." Emma nodded, her tears finally spilling over. "I hope so too." They sat in silence for a while, the weight of their shared history pressing down on them. Finally Sophia stood, her eyes red but her expression resolute. "Take care of yourself, Emma," she said softly. "You too," Emma replied, her voice barely above a whisper. As Sophia walked away, Emma felt a profound sense of loss. She thought about all the memories they'd shared, all the laughter and tears, and how it had all come crashing down. That night Emma called Liam. "Hey," she said when he answered. "Hey," Liam replied, his voice tired but warm. "I talked to Sophia," Emma said, her voice trembling. "She's leaving." There was a long pause before Liam spoke. "I figured she might. I hope she finds what she's looking for." Emma nodded, even though he couldn't see her. "Me too." They talked for a while about everything and nothing, and for the first time in weeks, Emma felt a glimmer of hope. As she hung up the phone, she looked out the window at the city lights, her heart heavy but her resolve strong. The road ahead would be difficult, but she knew they would get through it. Together,